So you're having a productive morning.
Yes, super productive. Very happy with um, just progressing, man. I think sometimes people they don't put much stock into just the small stuff
Yeah.
because it builds up. It compounds.
What small things are you talking about?
Just showing up and having a what do you call it? So I'm going back through Atomic Habits right now by James Clear. What he talks about is casting votes for the self that you want to be.
Okay.
So essentially, you have to continuously put yourself in those positions where you are confirming that you are becoming that person. So what does that mean? That means I show up to meetings early. That means I, am diligent about, reaching out to whether it be sellers, whether it be, you know, colleagues of mine, whatever the case may be. Just being very diligent and detailed with everything that you do.
Yep.
Because a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, you're gonna look back and be like, oh my gosh, like all I did was just show up every day. You know? So
Gotta make sure you're showing up to the right spots.
That's
and
a
putting in the right
fact.
effort. For sure.
That's a fact. You said something right there.
I've definitely had some times recently where I've had to kind of reevaluate how I've been spending my time or where I've been spending my time more particularly, and just getting more into the nitty gritty of where's going to bring me value.
What's important?
Yeah, what's important. It's important to understand what's important.
Absolutely.
Gloss over it, and you're just living every day, getting the tasks done in no necessary direction,
Right.
any motive, and you don't know what you're sitting with.
Yeah, it's no good having, a Ferrari with no steering wheel.
Yeah.
You got all the horsepower in the world, but can't take it nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, can't move it. So, but I say all that to say, these things that I'm doing now, because I read a lot, man. So another book that I'm reading is 12-Week Year. So this week is the first week of my 12 weeks. So last 12 weeks, I think it was like February to like last week, like the first week of May.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I won't say terrible. If I were to grade my 12 weeks, it'd be like a D plus.
Take me through the concept or surface level real quick.
Yeah. So essentially 12 weeks, obviously 12 weeks is a quarter, 4 weeks per month. And essentially the idea is, we all get into this annualized thinking. We think we have 12 months, and that's why, the last quarter of the year, October, November, December, everybody starts to turn it up, Everybody wants to make all these, sales calls and, go on all these viewings and, all the stuff that to make the quote at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But reading this book, what I've realized is a lot of what we do can be done in a shorter period of time if we just have that laser focus. So essentially 12 weeks is the year. Every week is a month. Every month is a day. So you kind of have to like change your mindset of how you think about time.
Yeah.
So
it's reframing.
It really makes you think about, okay, what am I actually spending my time on, and what is it doing for me? And then at the end of each week, because you only have 12, right? You essentially grade yourself. Okay, how did I do this week? So my daily goals is to read every day for an hour, write every day for an hour, and essentially spend 2 hours on building whatever skill I'm building in the first 4 weeks.
Okay.
So I have to check off every day. Did I read for an hour? Did I write? And on Sunday I can see, okay, how did I do this week?
Yep.
So I have tools where like I track my time, I track when I read, I track when I market, I track all that stuff. Because it's important, because I don't want to get 6 weeks in and I have no numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's not necessarily professional, it's important to track your numbers even on a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 12-week years definitely helped me kind of just focus.
Yeah, I like that concept. I might have to check out that book.
Yeah, it's fire, dude.
Anyway, welcome to the
Seth
Pulse.
Godin, I believe.
Welcome to the Pulse, neighbors. Today we've got on Donovan. Donovan, how about you tell us a little bit about who you are?
I'm no one. No, I'm kidding. I'm 23, man. Director of Bolderock Solutions, strong investment, strong foundation. We're a real estate firm here in Indianapolis. Not just in Indianapolis, though. We are all over the place. Acquisitions, dispositions, advisory, education, the whole 9 yards. I love teaching. I coach youth basketball. Do a little bit of everything, man. I kind of got my hands on a lot of different stuff. So, I'm happy to be here for sure.
Yeah, and I know your most recent venture was becoming an agent, correct?
Yeah, I'm licensed now.
So tell me a little bit about life in real estate before you had your license and life now that you've got your license.
I think now I'm learning just the different mechanisms and more of the, what's the word I'm looking for? More of just like the structure. So before I got my license, I started off wholesaling. Started off with my cousin Dayron Vinici with Unique Solutions. He's a flipper here in the city, and that was in 2021. I tell a lot of people this story. I was working at Ray Skillman at the time. Got fired October 8th. I remember the day. October 8th, 2021. By Thanksgiving, I had closed on 3 deals. So I feel like the difference.
Get your confidence started.
Yeah, man. And what's crazy is I'm glad it happened, but sometimes I look back on it, I'm like, man, that happened too quick. Yeah. I was working my face off though. Like calling 5-6 days a week, like hours on end, because I didn't have no job. What else I'm gonna do? Right? So, and I had already had in my mind, like, once I leave here, I know real estate's gonna be the thing for me.
Gotcha.
So I think the difference is mainly the structure. And structure is good,
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I got the structure after I understood the mechanism of real estate.
Okay.
Because some people, they become agents or licensed and they don't understand real estate.
Yeah.
They just don't understand how it all works.
Yeah.
So I tell people, it's nice to be an agent, but it's not required. Like, you don't need to be an agent in order to be successful.
I gotcha. All right, that's where you've been. That's where you're at. Where you going?
I'm going towards new construction, man. That's where I'm headed. Going towards new construction.
Single family homes, multifamily homes.
Starting off with some multifamily, not big multifamily. Just some duplexes to start off. Kind of get my feet wet.
Are you using a builder that's like around you doing a whole bunch? You don't have to give away your sources.
Yeah.
If it's one or two,
I gotta
probably say it.
I got a special connection.
Okay, it's got a special connection. I'm not gonna share. I'll just say Arcadia One and New. I forget what's New something. They do a lot around here, so those are ones people regularly talk about.
Yeah, but another thing too is I think wholesale is, I don't want to say saturated, because it's good to be in a industry that is saturated, because that means that it's a lot of business, right?
There's no barriers to entry in wholesaling.
Right. There's none. So I think the thing that I don't like about wholesaling now, after closing deals and all that stuff, is just I don't have the amount of rigor that I used to have, like when I first started.
Yeah.
Like I just don't have that same
I feel that, man.
Yeah,
You're doing any and everything when you first get started.
Everything. Like, you run around like a chicken with his head cut off. So
in a couple months, you realize you're wasting a lot of energy.
Dude, so I'm transitioning now into teaching people how to do it properly.
I got you.
So essentially, I want to show you how I did it, but just cut out all the fat, right? So make sure you have your systems. Make sure you have automations. Make sure that you have these people in place. Maybe you want to take a deal down yourself. This is how you put together a deck to show investors to get funding, because I think a lot of people that do wholesale leave money on the table thinking that they have to wholesale everything, and you don't. Yep. Right? So that's where I'm going, is more towards the education, because that's what I'm passionate about. That's why I coach youth sports. That's why, I teach RABC at P30, the co-working space here. Obviously, we're at Refinery. But, yeah, I just love teaching. I love showing people or conveying a thought that people are able to grasp easily. And
I can see you as somebody like leading your own co-working space. Yeah. I can see you being that dude.
Yeah.
Having like classes for the businesses that are in there.
Facts. I gotta write that down. I gotta write that down.
I mean, it sounds like a really cool idea. I've even thought of, in Broad Ripple in particular, and other areas of Indianapolis as well, but there's a lot of like large 5-6 bedroom houses that are zoned commercial. That would be pretty great.
Like, Cohatch.
Yeah.
Cohatch is a church.
Yeah, but if you had like 2 of those houses right next to each other,
interesting.
It'd be pretty interesting.
You know what's so funny? There's literally 2 houses. What street is it on? But they're expired. I think it's on Carrollton.
The Carrollton ones.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm
talking about. One of them
about.
sold.
Did they?
I was surprised that both of them didn't sell. I don't know what you do with just one of those.
Right. Because I think they're both up for like $325 or they were up for
they were like $400 originally.
Yeah, when they cut them both.
Down. Yeah. I remember looking at those a while ago. I got pictures on my phone.
I literally saw those like a couple days ago, and I was like,
That's what I think those need to be used as. Is like a small co-working space. It doesn't need to be large, and rent's probably too expensive. But if you get a couple of people that got unique real estate focused companies in there, and they could all work together, I think that'd be a great use for a building like that.
And I think that's what's happening now in the market that we're in, is that you need to have creative solutions to the problems that we have. So obviously the biggest problem is housing. Right? There's not enough houses for whatever reason. They're freaking. You see what they're doing over here on 46th Street.
Yeah.
So that's a problem, but also, just what we were talking about before we went live is these vacant office buildings that are just sitting.
Tons of them now.
Tons of them. I don't know if you saw, but there was a building in St. Louis. You probably. I think I posted it on my Instagram story where it was worth like $1 billion and it sold for $200 million. Lost $600 million in equity. It's crazy, but like it's an empty building. So, in theory, with the right plan, you can make that back, right?
Yeah. The issue with those and like the conversions in the residential space we're talking about. The floor plans usually don't work, so you come up with something really unique, and now you've got 150 unique units you have to fill.
Right.
It's just a challenge. Like, somebody could do it, for sure, but it's a high risk tolerance when you're looking at things like that. I remember I was taking like a new urbanism course in undergrad, and one of the things they were talking about is how they now build parking garages. Most of the parking garages you go into, you know how they're like usually sloped, like the whole thing's a slope.
And it goes just up and up.
Well, you don't use it as a parking garage anymore. You can literally use it for nothing. They're just not flat floors. So there's cities that have like instituted that you have to have like a certain percentage of the garage that's flat space, so that if it were to be used in the future for another use, it would be easily converted.
Interesting.
So I love cities that are looking forward on stuff like that and saying, hey, this is the use case and the item that we built and proposed, and we expect to be used for 20, 30 years. We expect to love it. But is there a life beyond this building?
What's going to happen after?
I think it's really important to look at, because we build buildings a certain way and they don't work out in 20 years. You have nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
It's what happened to all this office space.
Exactly. And I was talking with my mentor this morning, and he was going to do something similar, but he was going to get the plans, and the plans cost $1 million. To even like draw the plans up, not even to get anything, just to start.
You probably gotta have your lawyers for your
the whole thing,
land use restricted.
But that's the beautiful thing about real estate, is that there's so much different stuff that you can do. Like, people think that it's just flipping, or it's just wholesale, or it's just creative, or it's just this, or it's just no, dude. Like, I have a friend. Shout out to Daniel Martinez and Hive Mind. I have they kill it doing land, selling dirt. Just that's it. That they literally don't deal with nothing else.
Just buy it, sit on it for a couple years and sell it, or
so what they do is they subdivide it.
Oh, okay.
They subdivide. So some they subdivide.
They got a land use attorney.
It's just there's just so many different ways to do it in this industry, man. So that's kind of what drew me to it. I mean, obviously, what draws you to real estate at first? The money, right? You make a lot of money. But then once you get into it and you realize like, oh, this impacts a lot of lives. Like this woman that's in pre-foreclosure, like she has, she's on hospice or whatever the case is. Like you're really dealing with a lot of delicate situations. So knowing that you can be the person to make a difference for and get paid for it, it's crazy, man. I wouldn't have it no other way.
It's a crazy industry that we're a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a house. Not everybody has a house. But
Yeah, not everybody. If you don't have a house, it's okay.
It's
Don't feel shame.
But rephrase. Everybody strives to have housing.
Yes.
Most people strive to have housing.
I would hope so.
And I mean, when you're growing up and your parents, the people around you are telling you what industry to get into, it's the ones that people need.
Right.
Not things people want. I don't want to go get into pickleball right now and start a pickleball franchise. And now it's not popular.
It's not popular anymore.
Get yourself in something that's sturdy. Be the person that's selling the picks and the jeans. Don't be the gold miner.
Exactly. And I tell a lot of my young guys now, because I've been working at the YMCA for 3 years. I started off as a volunteer. And I tell them, like, look, man, chances are you're not going to make it to the NBA. Like, that's just the reality. Now, does that mean you have to be poor for the rest of your life? No. There's a lot of different things that you can do that let's just put away real estate, right? There's so many to what you said, so many different industries now that are in such a need, right? Where you can come in and make a great living for yourself. Cybersecurity, obviously, medicine's not going anywhere, law's not going anywhere, law enforcement is not going anywhere. So these are all industries may not be sexy, right? But are you going to be supported? Are you going to be able to take care of yourself and your family? Are you going to be able to eventually invest into real estate? If you make the right financial decisions, absolutely. So I think, showing the youth, and showing not even the youth, because there's a lot of people that's, our age and even older that think that they need all these bells and whistles to get into real estate, and you don't. People swear they need to use credit to get into real estate. You don't. So I think that the information gap now, especially in the market that we're in, like there's a lot of information that's bad, meaning, okay, interest rates are high, we all know that, right? So, okay, how do we combat that? Creative finance, all these different methods to get around what the actual problem is, but nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about the problem and not the solution.
Yeah, I think usually when we're talking about a society or a problem that faces society, I wouldn't call this a societal problem, but interest rates are a problem that society has to face. Typically when people talk about them, we're talking about the average, we're talking about the bulk percentage of people, and I think that's why we get a lot of doom and gloom about the real estate market. But if you're an investor, the interest rates going up it shouldn't impact your business as much. You can change the way that you underwrite deals.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not like you can't operate at all. There's still deals to be done.
Right.
Maybe your cash flow is not as high, but then you're looking at a longer time frame on if you're doing buy and hold.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of investors that were trying to do flips and burn and get out in a year, and they just decided, well, I'm just going to hold this for a while. Rents are going to grow. Value is going to grow up even more. As long as I can take the hit in year one, year two, I'm going to have all this appreciation.
Anyway.
That's coming up on me, and tax benefits you're getting from owning the real estate.
And it's election year, dude. Like that's why a lot of people aren't moving at all. Yeah. Is just because of, the political landscape, man. So.
And election. I'm not going to get into politics.
Yeah, we won't get into that. We won't get into that. I tell people, I call that market sentiment, man, because you have to know what's going on. You have to know, what is impacting A, where you live, and B, where you're buying or selling, right? So I have a good understanding of what's going on in Indy because, like, bro, I read the paper, bro. I watch the news, like, because I have to. I'm in real estate, so naturally everything comes back to that at the end of it all. So like bus lines, I know where those are going. I know where they're, for instance, Elanco. Like I knew that before everybody, So, but we all the individuals that have a good feel of where stuff is going, it's like, okay, well, you guys got that 2 months late. You know, like,
it's crazy. I'm the only person that I know in my age group that goes to the Zionsville Town Council meetings.
I saw that on your story.
And it's awesome though, because I get to drive around town and I know where the new roads are going. And I can be like, oh, well, I'm not going to be taking this path.
Exactly.
I bet all these businesses right here are going to be doing better than the businesses over there because the traffic's going to be going. Yeah. And people don't pay attention to their own cities, man. Like, it matters so much. Yeah. I don't think everybody can go to town council meetings, but if you are somebody in real estate or interested in your community whatsoever, you have to kind of open up your eyes and not only, I mean, rephrase that. I was going to say not only serve your clients, but it is serving your clients by going to those things, but not only work with your clients, but working with the community to serve your clients. Yeah. I've told people that, like, a lot of the times, like, our jobs in real estate is a lot more challenging than it comes off, because we're working with the community rather than just our clients. We have to know what the community demands and
that's
what the
community
is going towards in order to serve our clients. If you're somebody that's just playing video games all day, or even if you're reading books, like, that's great, it's awesome, but if you're not educating yourself on what's going on around you in your city, you cannot best serve your clients. You can be there to write an offer for them.
That's about it, you know.
Can't be there to serve them.
Not at the true capacity that you're supposed to. Yeah, I agree. Tell me about you, man. Like, how's your year started off so far? It's May.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good year. I've been focusing on property management quite a bit more than I had expected to. I got a big month where I got a whole bunch of properties in and had to build out systems super fast and get everything settled.
That's a good problem, man.
It is a good problem to have, and got an employee now. We got a couple of them. Somebody doing social media and then somebody doing operations for me.
I love it.
It's felt awesome, and I've loved that transition in my life of having people around me that can support the functions that I don't have time to, and two, quite frankly, don't want to.
So I got a question for you, because I was on Threads. First off, I love Threads. Threads is freaking awesome. You got. I don't know if you're a Twitter guy or not.
I don't use either, really.
I really, it's very homey.
Okay.
Yeah, try it out. Anyways, I saw a post of this individual who was hiring out. You know, they were hiring out a VA or whatever. And essentially, they made a few bad hires at first. And I ended up, replying, and I said, I totally relate, because what people don't understand, especially being an entrepreneur, right? In order to get star players on your team, you have to cultivate them. You're not going to get a star player off the street. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Without a price, right? Because if you are going to get a star player, it's going to cost you.
I can't pay for him.
Yeah, it's going to cost you.
I can't pay for him.
So knowing that, I think, at least for me, I can speak for myself, I started to hire out too soon, because, there's a quote that says, systemize before you optimize, right? So I can't optimize something that's not running, right? Yeah. So that was kind of my experience with, hiring out, is that, okay, I have a system that works for me, but I don't have a system that just works generally, right? So I think, essentially, I'm getting to this question. What do you feel? Do you feel like now is the right time to hire, or do you have any, like, essentially, like, hiring horror stories where you hired somebody out, it wasn't what you thought it was, or what has the hiring experience been like for you?
Oh. Man, I don't think it's ever what it expects to be. I've got very limited experience with it. I've been a manager of other businesses, so I can maybe use some of that information to guide my answer. Two people that I've got hired, they're both people that I know, so it's a little bit different than just putting I didn't put job ads out.
Gotcha.
I just hired people that I knew and kind of made a job. I had a situation where it just worked and flowed that way. I was only expecting to hire one person, but then the timing was just right in the conversations that I was having, and somebody was able to take something off of my plate at a price that worked for me. So I let it happen.
You're not complaining.
But then the other way, or the other side on operations, it has been a lot harder, just because a lot of the business this is how I do things. When things arise, I know how to operate it. So We have weekly meetings, and every time it's okay, well, you bring me questions on things that we did this week and how I do it as a system, just so we can kind of educate and process like that. And then I also bring things to them and be like, okay, these are the things that I'm doing this week, and this is how I expect it to be done.
Right.
But
that's important.
How I expect it to be done and how it's going to be done aren't always the same thing.
Usually not.
Yeah, because I'm going through it, I'm doing the tasks myself. I'm like, okay, I did this, I did this, I did that. I'm like, well, when they're going through it and they're doing it again and again and again, I'm sure they're going to be able to cut out X and cut out Y because they already know Z.
That's the trade-off, though, that you make by not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to allow somebody else to. And I had that issue where it's like, I want to give this task to you, but you're not going to do it how I'm going to do it. Yeah. So I'll just do it. And now I'm overwhelmed because I'm doing quadrant 3 stuff that I'm supposed to be delegating, right? And now I'm wasting my time instead of doing the stuff that's important.
That's where I'm at right now. But I've got them on. They haven't been like working those hours because I haven't been giving them enough.
Right.
And like I had to ask them last week, just straight up, was like, okay, what's the actual time look like? Am I giving you enough to do? And
are you staying busy?
The feedback that I got was no. Like, it's not. So then I had to be honest to myself. I'm like, all right, well, what can I take pride away from and not do myself and give it to somebody else? So it's every day I'm like, okay, I'm about to do something. You know what? I'm going to text them. I'm going to see if they can do it.
Let me let it go.
Let
it go.
It doesn't need to get done right now. As long as it gets done in the next couple of days, it's going to be okay. Like those items I'm starting to like put off to other people more often, and it feels great.
Man, I bet, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I think where it's really important when you're hiring somebody is the task that they're doing every day and every week. That's the important part. And what I've like found the value in outlining is, hey, these are the things that you need to do every day that I don't need to think about.
Right. Exactly.
That's been the most important and valuable part for me.
You know what's so interesting is, like I said, I coach youth sports, man. I've coached from 4 and 5 year olds all the way up to 14 and 16. So what I've learned in just coaching in general, not even, whether it be professional or personal, just coaching in general, I've learned that there's 2 different perspectives, right? So let's just take basketball, for example. My player is going to have a different vantage point than I do because I'm not on the court playing.
Yep.
I'm going to have a different vantage point because I can see it from a fuller picture. So what I've learned to do was, because I think sometimes people in leadership think that like it's their way or the highway, right? Because it's like, oh, well, you're under me, you need to just listen to what I'm telling you to do and blah, 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 blah. That's not a leader to me. I don't think to anybody, quite frankly. So I make it a priority to understand what they see. Whether it's a player, whether it's somebody I'm coaching, whether it's somebody, one of my students, whatever. Tell me what you see. Tell me what you feel, right? Because then it's going to give me context to how I can help you.
Yeah.
So I have a student now where, we had a discovery call. And I'm like, okay, so what do you understand about like the wholesale process? Like what part are you most comfortable with? She's like, none of it. I'm like, that's okay. I don't want you to feel like that's not okay because it is. So I think even, with you starting to, have a staff, that's so cool. So it's important to make sure that you empower them and let them know, hey, it's okay for you to not know something.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to do something wrong or do something that's not to my standard or not how I would do it, because that's the whole point. If you do it wrong, I can then tell you, okay, you may not do it my way, but here's a better way for you to complete this task, or here's a better way for you to, do this assignment or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But if I'm so focused on forcing the issue and telling you, whatever it may be, if I'm so focused on that, then now you're more like a subordinate, not a teammate.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. Like, I don't want anybody around me to think that I'm just like the big boss, with the cowboy boot. Like, no, bro. Like, we're a team. You may have a certain title, but we all work together as a cohesive unit, and I want everybody to know that.
Yeah. Have you thought about distributing equity in your company ever? Have you ever come to that?
I've thought of that. I don't know if I would do it with Bolderock,
Okay.
but Bolderock's not gonna be the only company I ever start in my life ever. I think when it comes to growing something and having people involved, they should absolutely have equity, right? So, have you seen Air?
I believe so.
Dude, you gotta watch it. So it's a story about Nike and Jordan.
I think I've seen this.
Oh, it's so good. So essentially, Jordan literally won on that deal because he got equity in Nike. Like he got shares in Nike. Obviously, that worked out for him.
Yeah.
Right. So I think when it comes down to it, you gotta ask yourself: is this person deserving of equity, but what have you done to earn this? Like, what have you contributed? And then at that point, you decide, okay, cool. We can kind of hash out numbers, because some people may want to be involved, but they don't want to be involved forever. So you got some people, like there's ideas that I have about companies where like the point is to exit and to sell it for profit.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm not like married to it. Now Bolderock, we go together. Like that's my boo. I love Bolderock. So would I exit one day and give somebody take a minority stake or whatever? Possibly, but it would have to be like the absolute like right person that I trust to be like, I know you're gonna take this to a whole nother level, then I would.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've floated the idea. I don't think I'm in a position ever to do that, but I'm fond of the idea of kind of how you alluded to the Nike story. If you get the right person in there that's seeing it as their kind of uncapped ceiling, then yeah, I'm kind of all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have to have all the mechanisms in place to be able to give that person the runway that they need to be able to take off.
Right.
But I'm fond of the idea for sure.
Man. But I think too, when it comes to like equity in business, I really think people underestimate the ideas that they have, because there's so like, let's think about the companies that are like going public. So like Instacart's going public, Skims is going public, Reddit is going public. There's some other companies going public. Public meaning it's going to be traded on the stock exchange.
Yep.
For the viewers out there.
So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay, well, that's a simple idea. So funny enough, obviously we were talking about your guest earlier, Justin. Me and Justin actually had a conversation about like what makes a good company. And one of the companies that he said that he loves is Buc-ee's, the gas station. I've never been, but like they talk about it like it's like heaven. But it's because of the experience, right? So two things make a good business. It's experience and it's convenience. So what companies have that? Costco, Chick-fil-A, Mercedes, all these places, they not only have the experience, but it's convenient to purchase the product or to use the product.
Yeah.
So when I think about the ideas that I have, the ideas that I want to form, obviously talking about equity, there's some ideas where I don't have to be married to it to know that it's convenient and it's what's the other thing I said?
Convenient experience.
It's convenient and it has a good experience. So if it has those two things, it really makes no difference what industry or sector that it's in, right? And as long as it's cutting some type of, because that's the world that we're in now, bro. Like if you can cut something in half as far as time goes, you're gonna make money. That's just.
I mean, there's companies out there, and their whole entire mission is to buy companies and make it 80% more efficient.
That's
and
it, and
40% cost.
sell it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they do.
Yeah.
All they do. So, you know, I think that people should start thinking more broad about ways to be an entrepreneur, ways to make money, ways to make an impact on the world immediately. Because people they got millions of dollars burning holes in their pockets because they don't have anything that they, A, believe in, and B, see as truly changing the world, right? And impacting it on a global scale. Because not a lot of stuff impacts on a global scale that's even out now and they still make money. Like, for instance, Snapchat. Like, do you use Snapchat? No, I don't. But it's a certain demographic that they...
You have to use Snapchat for 6 to 8 years.
And after that, it's done. But that's the thing. What is it? It's a great experience and it's convenient.
I still have it on my phone, and there's certain memories that are only saved on my Snapchat.
Right.
So I'm always going to have Snapchat.
Exactly.
It got me for life.
Exactly.
But yeah, companies are definitely about building the brand and the experience and then incorporating the convenience into it. Like you said, Buc-ee's just a gas station. I'll stick to that vein. I've traveled all across the U.S. There's so many different types of gas stations, and there are ones that stick out because they're cool. There's this 2-story Sinclairs out in Kansas or something. And, it's dope. I love stopping there. That's the gas station with the dinosaur on it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Everybody knows Speedway. What do you know Speedway for? What comes to your mind when you think of Speedway?
Speedy Freeze.
I didn't even have to prompt you. You got that.
I just had one a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's the same gas station. Every gas station has those, but they've got the branding, they got the promotion behind it, and everybody knows how convenient and easy it is to get it. So people stick with it and they keep going back all the time.
And I think people don't consider too that that there's real estate isn't just houses and dirt. It's ideas, it's websites, it's all this different stuff. Have you heard of the term mind share?
Yeah.
So for the viewers, right, because we dropping some terms on y'all today. So essentially mind share is when I say a thing, what comes to mind? So if I say shoes, what are you going to say? Nike. If I say car, what are you going to say?
I drive a Toyota.
Okay, you just shout out Toyota. I drive a Ford. So, that's what mind share is, but that's mental real estate.
Yeah, I mean, you can go even further into news. You probably think of CNN or Fox.
Yeah, CNN, Fox.
You go into those lines, and it's hard to become one of two. There's usually 2 household names. In real estate, you're not going to become that.
It's just a part of it. Yeah,
it's more relational and everything, but it's still a good methodology to go behind and understand that people really. You gotta be top of mind.
Yes.
Top of mind. I talked about that on here before. People use the realtor that they talk to most frequently, or most recently, not even frequently. Tyler on our team was just talking about how he lost a deal. He was working with this person for a long time. And then I don't remember what his reason was, but maybe he was out of town or he didn't touch base with them that week, and they found another realtor and they went to buy a house that week.
That stinks.
He was talking to him frequently and pretty recently.
Yeah.
One other one beat him out.
And I've had situations like that where, I've reached out to old leads that I had been following up for months and months and months and months and months, and then 3 months passes by, 6 months passes by, a year passes by, then you hit them back up and it's no, bro, I sold that house 2 years ago. And it's the money's made in the follow-up, man. The money is truly made in the follow-up. You have to follow up. It's so important. It's tedious, but it's important.
I think it's a pretty good note to end on, but before you get out of here, you got to tell me 3 places in or around Indianapolis that you would enjoy.
First place is Havana Cigar Lounge. First and foremost, I love Havana.
All right. Check it out.
I frequent that place. I live there. That's number 1. Number 2, I gotta say my why. Shout out to Ransburg. I love y'all. I just love the why. I love being around the kids, bro. It gives me a lot of energy.
Yeah.
The third, where do I go? I don't
need a restaurant.
A restaurant? Okay. La Hacienda. Taco spot off of 56 and Emerson Way.
I've never been to the one here, but there's one up in South Bend that my stepfather's family
Really?
frequents.
Small world.
They love it. It's not a huge chain, but they've got a couple of them in Indiana.
Or honorable mention, Four Seasons. Four Seasons is really good.
Oh, yeah?
Four Seasons, yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Great breakfast.
I've never been for food.
Oh no! So Four Seasons like a whole. It's like a not the hotel. But it's just a restaurant.
Oh, it's a restaurant. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I didn't even know that.
Look at that. Teaching you something new.
Hey, thanks for your time today, man. Anything you want to say before you get off here?
I'll share with you guys the note that my mentor gave me this morning. He said, you know, sometimes, not even sometimes, but you have to be a laser, not a flashlight.
Mm.
So it doesn't matter how bright a flashlight shines, it's not gonna cut through anything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a laser, it's not gonna take much for you to cut through steel, brick, whatever, right? Because of that level of focus.
Focused energy rather than
Focused energy
broad.
rather than being broad. So be a laser, not a flashlight. That's what I leave off with.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.